What up, though? I am Fontaine the Titan. That's right. I said the Titan. I am not. I repeat, I am not a human. No disrespect to y'all humans out there if y'all vibing on that human mental level, but I'm going to give y'all some information that might make you want to rethink the whole concept of this humanity and where you stand mentally and spiritually on your journey, right? Because what you got to understand is that throughout history, we have been put in different positions that have got us to a certain point here to where it's a mental slavery going on, right? So before we get into that, let's break down what spiritual alchemy is, right? See, spiritual alchemy, right, is the process of transforming a less evolved soul personality into a more refined one. The founders of all major religions have attempted to expedite this transformation by providing rules to help people achieve this goal and also lead happier and more productive lives. Enlightenment, illumination, the perfection of the soul all point to this ultimate goal, right? So we talking about getting our soul right, getting our soul to a higher understanding, a more refined, higher level. And I'm on that Titan level, okay? So let me break this down for you like this, right? You got the events that happen in slavery. And slavery is not nothing new. We'll go back to the slavery that started here in America. But of course, we know slavery go way back thousands of years. They've been doing this for a long, long time now. And that whole concept of slavery warps people's minds. And when they implemented all of these tactics and ideologies, that ingrained into our ancestors' DNA, which generation after generation kept on going and repeating, because your DNA has memory and it's going to affect you even now. They sit up here and act like, oh, okay, slavery is over with and y'all need to just get over it and blah, 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 blah. No. See, what you got to understand is that the effects of slavery is not only still affecting us physically based on all the laws and everything that they got into place to still keep us into a mental state, but it's also affecting us spiritually within our soul based on the fact that all of those events that happened in the past still affect us today on a spiritual level, okay? So let me break it down like this, right? This is an example of how subliminally they get into your subconscious mind and warp the way you think about yourself and got you on a lower level, and the lowest level that you could think of, right? So when we talk about what happened in slavery, right? You got the slavery, it was terrible, it was atrocious, it's the most hideous, repugnant things that happened in history to especially us as black people, right? But you move slavery on into the Americas, into the 1700s or so, and then they came out with this thing called the 3/5 Amendment, right? You might have taught you about this in school, maybe a little bit of it, but you probably don't get the gist of it. But I'm going to break it down to you on the spiritual level, right? So what they say about the 3/5 Amendment is it is often misinterpreted to mean African Americans as individuals are considered 3/5 of a person, or that they are 3/5 of a U.S. citizen. They say that's a misinterpretation, right? So the 3/5 clause of Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution of 1787, they say it in fact declared that for purposes of representation in Congress, enslaved blacks in the state will be counted as 3/5 of a number of a white inhabitant in that state. Think about that for a second. We were being treated as less than human, and then they counted us as less than human. So based on our DNA having memory that's passed on from generation to generation, a lot of us are mentally still in a state of mind of being even less than a human. See, some of y'all even got to evolve to being in a human state of mind. Because what happens is we get stuck into these mentalities and get stuck into these ways. And you see police shooting us in the streets down right now, still treating us like we are less than human. Because that's the mentality that they brought up in their whole white supremacy aspect of it. And we still suffer the consequences of it because of the ideology. And we still sitting up here still fighting to be human, right? But let's take this a step further, right? Because we have the 14th Amendment, okay? And the 14th Amendment in 1868 granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the U.S., including former slaves, and granted all citizens equal protection under the laws, right? So if that went down in 1868, why 100 years later, going into 1968 and going into the civil rights movement, we were still fighting to have equal rights as humans? So you got to see the game that they playing on this psychologically, right? So we done went from being less than a human to fighting to be humans, and we still fighting to be humans now. Well, at least y'all are, because I'm not fighting to be a human no more. I understand there's a higher concept, a higher plateau that goes above this humanity that they trying to get everybody trapped in and get everybody wrapped in to this materialism. See, I have a different understanding of where this goes. See, when you look into your Bible, right, for all you Christians out there who haven't read your Bible and all you do is go to church and listen to what the minister tell you, listen to what the pastor telling you, and you following all the little rules and traditions, and you acting like it's not a ritual to drink the blood and eat the bread and represent the body of Christ and all of that stuff. Hey, that's all cool with me if that's what you want to do, but you got to get a higher standard on some of the stuff that goes on in this Bible. See, it's a lot of contradictions in this Bible. It's a lot of inconsistencies in this Bible. But for those of you who want to take the Bible literally, I got a couple of Bible verses in here that you sure might want to hold on to for your own personal growth, right? So in Psalm 82:6, it says, I said you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Says it right here in the Bible. You are gods, right? It even says it at the beginning in Adam and Eve when they say you're created in the image of God, right? But we go take this a little bit further, okay? Because even Jesus said in John 10:34, right? Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law? I said you are gods. Whoa. See, y'all want to follow what Jesus is saying? Y'all might want to follow that and get into a higher spiritual level. Get your soul, get connected, the soul who you really are, to that divine spark, to know who you really are out here in the game. Because see, what happens is that you're going from slavery and you're going from being less than a human, being treated as such, to being happy to be a human. But you got to understand that we are gods. And in fact, we are greater than gods. We are titans out here. And I claim my titanship. I claim to be higher than the gods that we created. Because you got to understand the mythology that goes along with all of this in order to describe the story of us and who we really are. But let's take this a step even further than that, right? Because we all know that the Bible comes from someplace, and all the ideologies that they get from the Bible, besides the fact of other stuff that they threw in there in order to promote slavery, but the key idea of being a god, let's take it back. Let's take it to the Hermetica, okay? Because you got to go back and take a step back further. You got to rewind it back further to the beginning, to the ancient stuff, to the stuff that they stripped from us, and now we have no idea of who we were, right? And all that we are now is claiming to be the humans that they are allowing us to be, based on their laws and the conquering of the world that they got going on. But when you understand who you really are and you get that on a mental plane and on a higher spiritual level, it becomes clear what they did, right? They took away our divinity, and now we have to find that out for ourselves. But let's see what they got to say about it in the Hermetica, right? We have man is a marvel, okay? It says God, the cosmos, and man are three great beings. The cosmos is an image of God, and man is an image of the cosmos. Each is made up of many parts, yet each is greater than the sum of these parts. Man was created to be a vehicle through which God could continue to bring order and beauty to the cosmos. All beings have soul, the life force within them, but only human beings possess the power of mind, with which we can contemplate the cosmos and come to know God. So it all starts, the all is mind and universe is mental. We've been over the Hermetic principles, right? So if you go back, get reintroduced to the Hermetic principles, and you can get yourselves on a higher level, then you can understand where we come from when we going into this. The Hermetica, which is the lost wisdom of the pharaohs. You know, this is Thoth in Greek, in Egyptian, our stuff. You know what I'm saying? But let me continue, right? It says, human beings are the meeting place of spirit and matter. We have therefore a dual nature. We are mind enclosed by a physical body. The human mind is an image of God's mind. It is immortal, eternal, divine, and free, right? Well, not for a lot of y'all humans out here. It may not be free. You gotta free your mind. This is the Matrix, and you are Neo. Free your mind, right? We gotta get it into higher levels and understand who we really are. But let me continue. It says, the human body, on the other hand, is mortal and controlled by the laws of destiny, which are governed by the stars. And we're going to get into what they mean by governed by the stars. We're going to get into this astrology, this zodiac stuff in 1 second. But let me finish this up for you, because it's some key points that you need to understand so you can recognize who you really are if you still think you're a human, because I am not a human, all right? But let me continue. It says, Hermes dares to suggest that this unique dual nature even places human beings above the gods. The gods, the heavenly bodies, are confined within their permanent orbits in the heavens and will never move beyond them. A human being, however, may both be on earth and through the power of his mind ascend to the heavens. In the 20th century, have used this power to journey literally to the stars and reach back through telescopes to see the origin of the universe. It says, being both spirit and matter, man is an intermediary between these two great principles. He is greater than beings who are merely mortal and above those who are purely immortal. He shares in the creative power of God. He even, with his mind, creates gods in his own image. So you wonder how they was able to create Jesus with the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. They stole our knowledge on how to do this and got everybody else worshiping a God outside of themselves, and telling them that we are less than human at the time and treating us as less than human so that we can eventually be happy to be human. What? I ain't buying that. I am not a human. I am a titan, high level, all right? But let me continue, all right? Hermes concludes that man is a marvel, worthy of wonder and reverence, a sentiment that fueled the humanism of the Renaissance. The purpose of human life is to rise above our merely human nature and awaken our divine nature. Human beings have the unique potential to know God, and God's greatest wish is that we fulfill this potential. So while we running around here enjoying all this materialism, it's not about none of this stuff. It's about getting to know thyself and getting that connection and understand that you are a God. In fact, you are greater than a God if you can get the concept of that going on in your head. But we was talking about the stars for a second, right? And what you got to understand is in the Bible, right? Because we always got to go back to the Bible because that's what everybody know, right? And as I said before, you know, you got the Holy Bible, which is translated to Helios Biblios, which is translated to literally the sun book. And you have Jesus as the sun in the sky, surrounded by the 12 zodiacs, right? Jesus with the 12 disciples, the root word of disciple is to discipline. So now we go get into what we mean by disciplining your zodiacs, okay? Because we have here the zodiac and destiny. So a lot of y'all get out here and y'all be excited because y'all be like, oh, okay, I'm a Capricorn, or I'm a Scorpio, I'm a freak, you know what I'm saying, or whatever y'all feeling. I'm a Gemini, or they be like a Gemini two-faced, and they be like, oh yeah, them Libras be lying, or whatever it is that y'all got attributed to these astrological zodiacs that's going on here. It's not our goal to embrace it. We're supposed to conquer that and rise above that and get on a higher level and claim who we are in our divinity. See, when you look at the chakra system and you got your 3 lower chakras in the middle, your heart chakra, they are all representing to the astrology, right? They have zodiac correlations to them. But when you get past those lower chakras and get into your higher selves, that's when you are starting to get above the zodiac matrix that we all stuck in this physical reality. Okay? So let's go ahead and get you a higher understanding here, right? It says, God created humans to appreciate the awesome wonder of his universe, to be themselves a beautiful embellishment of the cosmos, and to share in God's creative powers and to participate in the work of creation. The heavenly gods, the planets, who had already bestowed on man some of their own power, now urge the Creator to be cautious. They fear that man will use his inquisitive mind for destructive as well as constructive purposes. Man's powers, they complain, are too great and unlimited, and therefore dangerous to himself and the order of the cosmos. God responds to their concerns by creating the zodiac. This celestial mechanism will control the fate of men and be ruled over by the goddess Destiny. She sows the seeds of a person's fate, which grows and develops under constraints of necessity, the limits and demands of physical nature to shape every human life. So what you got to understand is we got to get above that. We don't have to be constrained by the so-called destiny of your zodiac sign, of the astrology. That's why it's good to understand, get your birth chart, get your astrological chart going on so you can find out which characteristics that you need to overcome for yourself to rise above that, right? Because once you get that, then you start to get out of that human state of mind. Because a lot of y'all are still on that mental slavery, half human state of mind, and ain't got no idea when I'm talking about this God consciousness and getting into a higher level and becoming a titan and even further than that, right? But let me continue. It says, it is man's lot to live the life prescribed for him by his fate. Very few human beings are capable of escaping from the determining influence of the zodiac. They say very few people can escape this. It says man's earthly life is controlled by the power of destiny through the physical limitations of the mortal human body. However, that's that right, that's that key word. However, if a man's mind is illuminated by the light of God, he becomes free from these celestial influences. For even the gods are powerless before God. Hermes teaches that it is our duty not to simply acquiesce our fate, but rather through intense contemplation of God to rise above our merely mortal nature and awaken our immortal soul. And that's what this is all about. Because everything is constructed in a certain way to keep us bound to these human bodies. And in our ignorance, we grow up and we thinking that this is all okay. From everything that we get taught as a baby. Just imagine a baby, if a baby came out conscious and able to walk, talk, think, and have an idea of what God is. What do you think a baby would say God is when it's first born? It's going to look at his mommy and his daddy, right? And it's going to look at his aunties, his uncles. It's going to look at all of the ancestors, and he's going to say they are the gods. And if we had our mind right, we would let our kids know that they are the gods and they can do anything and give them the power in their mind to be able to move things forward. But you know what we do? We say, no, we just humans. And we got to go to church, and we got to do all this other wild stuff. But that's not the case. Because see, the reality is, because we are born in ignorance, we have to find the light and find out who we really are within for ourselves, our eternal soul, who we really are. I am not a human, right? Titan level type of mentality going on here. So let's keep it kicking, right? Let's get into this. The ignorance of the soul. The limitations imposed on the soul by the physical body mean that human life is inevitably difficult. But our hope for eternal life rests in how we live our present lives. Earthly existence is an opportunity to train the soul so that at death it does not lose its way but travels straight to heaven. Everything material, even our body, is foreign to our essential spiritual nature. Unfortunately, we become so caught up with this transitory sensual pleasures of life that we are unaware of our eternal soul. The body should be the slave of the soul, not its master, right? So we out here wrapped up in this physical construct, still got this half slave mentality, still fighting to be a human. What is going on out here? Get on a higher level. Get on that Godship. Get on that Titan mentality, right? Because you got to understand is the all is mind, the universe is mental, right? The law of correspondence gives you the planes of existence for you to understand how all of this works and everything flows together. You got to understand the law of vibration and understand that, everything is built in duality on the law of polarity, and it's all energy. It's just which side of the energy you want to be used on. But what happened is that they got everybody out here polarized in humanity and not even understanding the real aspect of who we really are. Because if you're not understanding who you are, if you're not getting to know thyself, then you ain't going to do nothing but running around this physical plane playing, right? So it's time to stop playing. It's time to get to know thyself. Because you're wondering why they defeating us out here is because y'all still fighting to be humans. Stop fighting to be a human out here. Understand that this humanity is garbage. It is something that they have bestowed on us and got us convinced that we are who we are here. But this is not the end game. This is not where it stops at. It goes higher. And when you start getting into the mythology, you understand that we are higher than the gods that we created. They created Jesus. 325 AD in order to be able to have an energy force for you to have to look at God outside of yourself and not understand that you are a God. But it still say right here in your own Bible that ye are gods. What is you doing? Get it together up here. Because if you ain't going to take it literally, I'm going to take it literally. If it ain't nothing else in this Bible that I'm going to hold on to, it'll be the fact that it says that I am a God. Because guess what? If that's the least that I'm going to be a God out here. And I'm on a higher level than that. I am a Titan. I am not a human. And so for all y'all who enjoying this, I'm going to let you know this is not just for entertainment. This is educational for me. And if you looking at this and like wondering why I'm on a high level as a Titan and all of that, that's because I done put my work in. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting all of this together, that inside, that soul, who I really am, getting that to the highest level and going on and grasping these concepts to understand that this is not what it's all about. But if you think this is what it's all about, then that's on you, because guess what? I don't really care what you think, because a lot of people out here get wrapped up in what other people think. and they get wrapped up in what somebody think about me and all of that. Guess what? I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what nobody think about me. Only thing that matters to me is what I think about up here in my own mental growth and my spiritual growth. And if that ain't on your mind, then you out here playing and you on that human level. Because when you start to get into that godhood, when you start to get into that Titan level of understanding, you can care less of what anybody else thinking, what anybody else got going on. And you go be working to the highest degree to get yourself to a higher level, to get rid of all of these human type of forces that are put on you, and you go rise above it, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's about knowing thyself, getting in touch with that divine spark, and recognizing who you really are out here. And a lot of y'all still in that slave mentality, and y'all wondering why things is the way it is. And a lot of y'all flipped over to being a human, and now y'all fighting to still be humans out here, but not understanding your divinity. Because like I said, at the end of the day, the only reason why you don't know that you were God is because they told you that you were something else. And in your subconscious mind, from you growing up and going through all of this trauma in your life and the repetition that it came down upon you to tell you that you ain't about nothing, and you then took that, eternalized it, and don't think you have the power of the mind to be able to create your own reality and do anything. And now you are stuck in a lower human level of mindset, and if you don't raise yourself up, that's exactly where you're going to stay, and that's exactly where you're going to be. So get that raised up to higher levels. Understand, I am a Titan out here. And you can be one too if you get your mind right. You understand where I'm coming from. It is not that hard. See, the hardest part is letting go of the stuff that you got in your past and letting go of the subconscious programming that you had and starting to reprogram yourself to get into a higher level. Because if you don't reprogram your own subconscious mind and get your own mind together, guess what? They're going to do it for you, and they're not going to do it in your best interest. And as you can obviously see in how the world going, they don't care about none of y'all, and they're going to treat you as less than human, and at the most, they're going to barely treat you as a human. So we got to get on a higher level mentally, creating a full reality for ourselves in order to be able to manifest the reality that we want out here on a God level, on a Titan level. So with that being said, I'm staying successful, peaceful, prosperous, healthy. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I am Fontaine the Titan. Peace.